Chapter 2. Cultivation of Crops. We will learn about basic practices of crop production. In ancient times, our ancestors roamed in search of sustenance and shelter. They relied on hunting animals and consuming raw meat. As the ages progressed, they unlocked the secrets to grow food grains like wheat and rice. In this way, agriculture was born. The term agriculture is derived from two Latin words, ager, which means field, and cultura, which means cultivation. Hence, agriculture means the cultivation of field. Basic practices of crop production. When plants of same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale, it is called a crop. The land where plants are cultivated is known as field. Cultivation of crops involves several activities undertaken by farmers over a period of time. These activities are referred to as agricultural practices, which are listed below. 1. Preparation of soil. 2. Sowing. 3. Adding manure and fertilizers. 4. Irrigation. 5. Weeding. 6. Crop protection. 7. Harvesting. 8. Threshing. 9. Winnowing. 10. Storage. Preparation of soil. The preparation of soil is the first step before growing a crop. It is important for any cultivation. Plowing. The process of loosening and turning the soil is called plowing. The whole process of cultivation begins with plowing. It can be done with an iron or a wooden plow. In olden days, animals were used to pull the plows in small fields. Nowadays, plowing is done by tractors. Following are the advantages of plowing. 1. Plowing helps in the growth of microorganisms and worms in the soil and maintains the fertility of the soil. 2. It uproots unwanted plants called weeds and kills them. 3. Plowing loosens and aerates the soil, so the roots are able to penetrate deeper. Leveling. After plowing, the leveling of the soil is done with the help of a leveler. Leveling helps in distributing water uniformly. It also helps to press the loosened topsoil and prevents soil erosion. Sowing. Sowing is an important part of crop production. When the soil is prepared, the seeds are put in the furrows. This is called sowing seeds. The seeds sown must be healthy and of good quality. Sowing of seeds is done of crops like wheat, maize, bajra, and mustard. However, in some crops like sugarcane and potato, parts like stem pieces are used. Explore. Take a beaker and fill half of it with water. Put a handful of wheat seeds and stir well. Wait for some time. Are there seeds which float on water? Would those be lighter or heavier than those which sink? Why would they be lighter? Damaged seeds become hollow and are thus lighter. Therefore, they float on water. This is a good method for separating good, healthy seeds from the damaged ones. Let us look at the methods of sowing seeds. By hand. This is the method in which the seeds are scattered in the fields by hands. This method has some disadvantages. Seeds fall in cluster at just one place. Seeds do not get into the right depth and birds pick them up. By seed drill. Nowadays, the seed drill is used for sowing with the help of tractors. A seed drill has a funnel-shaped opening followed by long tubes. These tubes are attached to the plow. Seeds are put into the funnel. As the plow makes furrows in the soil, the seeds are sown at the appropriate distance and right depth in the soil by the drill. This method of sowing seeds is better than sowing seeds by hand. Knowledge hunter. There are seeds of certain crops that are first sown in nurseries. Later, the seedlings are transferred to the fields. This process of transferring seedlings to fields is called transplantation. Some of the crops like rice, tomatoes, chilies, etc. are grown by the transplantation method. Adding manure and fertilizers. The substances which are added to the soil in the form of nutrients for the healthy growth of plants are called manure and fertilizers. Nutrients present in the soil are essential for the growth of the plants. Plants use these nutrients for their growth. In this way, soil becomes less fertile and poor in nutrients. So, to make the soil rich in nutrients, farmers add manures and fertilizers. Manure is made from the dung of farm animals. Fertilizers are chemical compounds made in factories. They are very rich in minerals. Irrigation. All living beings need water to live. The most important thing for the growth of plants is water. The supply of water to crops at regular intervals is called irrigation. Major sources of irrigation are canals, wells, and tube wells. Irrigation should be done properly. Both excess of water and scarcity of water is harmful for the crops. Irrigation can be done by various methods. Knowledge hunter. The system in which water falls drop by drop directly near the roots is called drip system. It is a boon in regions where availability of water is poor. Weeding. The unwanted plants that grow along with the crops are called weeds. They are an obstacle to the growth of the main crop, as weeds also use water, nutrients of soil and sunlight along with the main crops. So, they must be removed. The process of removing weeds is called weeding. Weeds can be removed by hand and using tools like trowels and harrows. Nowadays, farmers use some chemicals called weedicides to destroy weeds. Crop protection. Other animals and insects can also harm the crop. Therefore, it must be protected from them. Protection from pests. To kill pests and other insects, farmers spray pesticides and insecticides. They put up scarecrows to scare away birds. Protection from diseases. The seeds are soaked in fungicides and antibiotics before sowing them. Farmers spray fungicides and pesticides on the standing crops. Harvesting. Harvesting of a crop is an important task. When the crop becomes mature and ripe, it needs to be cut. The process of cutting mature and ripe crops is called harvesting. Harvesting is done either by sickles or machines called harvesters. Threshing. In the harvested crop, the grain seeds need to be separated from the chaff. This process is called threshing. In small fields, threshing is done by spreading the harvested crop on the ground and walking over it. This work is done by animals such as bullocks and camels. In large fields, threshing is done by a machine called a thresher. Knowledge hunter. A combine harvester is a modern machine used for both reaping and threshing. Winnowing. The process in which the chaff is separated from the grains by wind is called winnowing. In this process, the threshed grains are made to fall down on the ground from a certain height. The seeds, being heavier, fall down on the ground directly, while the chaff, which is light enough, flows away with the wind and falls separately. Storage. Storage of produce is an important task. If the harvested grains are to be kept for longer time, they should be safe from moisture, insects, rats and microorganisms. Harvested grains have more moisture. If freshly harvested grains are stored without drying, they may get spoiled. Hence, after winnowing, the grains are dried in the sun. The dried grains are then put in gunny bags and sent to godowns, which are known as granaries or silos. Silos are dry, cool place protected from rats, birds and harmful insects. Key words. Agriculture, cultivation of crops. Crop, same kind of plants grown on a farm. Plowing, loosening and turning the soil. Irrigation, watering plants in the field. Weeding, removing unwanted plants that grow along with crops. Harvesting, cutting mature and ripe crops. Threshing, separating grains from chaff using thresher. Winnowing, separating grains from chaff by wind. I should remember. The word agriculture is derived from two Latin words, ager meaning field and cultura meaning cultivation. The different activities for producing grains are preparation of soil, sowing of seeds, use of manure and fertilizers, irrigation, weeding, crop protection, harvesting, threshing, winnowing, and storage of grains.